Now, it says that I'm the master of ceremony, but really, I'm not. I'm just the facilitator. All I'm going to do is make sure that things go smoothly. I had a pastor when I lived in Philadelphia that said to me that when you see a nice, beautiful program like this, and you see all these intelligent people here, is that you don't read the program to them. They read it for themselves. So I'm just the facilitator today, okay? We're going to get started. And if we have to have replacements, I certainly will remind you, and we have a replacement right away. For our welcome today, we have the first Afro-American female county commissioner that's going to pitch in and do that for us today, Mrs. Betty Parker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm doing something that I hadn't anticipated as doing, but no problem. I am a talker, so I won't have a problem with it. I just don't think I will. I am, however, the first elected African-American woman on the Pasquotank Board of Commissioners. There was an African-American woman who was appointed to replace someone for a short period of time, but I am the only or the first elected county commissioner, or African-American female county commissioner. And actually, since we're on that, I am the second person to be African-American to be elected at large. That means having the city and the county to vote you in. And I'm following in the footsteps of Mr. Hugh Kale, who we celebrated yesterday at the courthouse, a dedication. So it is an honor for me to be here because I feel like I'm one of the first somewhere. I wasn't the first child in my family, so it's good sometimes to feel like you're the first something. But the program tonight, of course, is about someone else who is a first, and I am anxious to get to hear from him. So what I'm going to do is, as a commissioner, welcome everyone to this program, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay, this celebration of Black history is our most meaningful. Opportunities to promote cultural awareness, provide direction for our young, and take pride in our collective historical accomplishments. Today, the ultimate intent of Black History Month is not only to help our African Americans who are looking for avenues of preserve of our great heritage, but also speak to the members at the larger society who are looking for avenues to understand themselves of the Black countryman by extension. The Black History Month is a celebration of existence to key people, a people who come from before the Mayflower. Most of all, Black History Month is a time of learning and reflecting. Thank you.
Let us pray. To him whom all blessings flow, we are grateful and thankful tonight for this occasion as we continue in the celebration of our Black history experiences. We realize that Black history is every day, and we're grateful and we're thankful that you have allowed these, your people who have gone before us, to achieve and to be knowledgeable in circumstances and situations and subject matters that we were not granted before. So we thank you for your blessings, and we pray that as we go, live, move, and have our being, that you will continue to bless not only the African American experiences, but the entire world, the city, and the state. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Let me first be very brief, tell you that I will be brief, but for me it's almost impossible to be brief. Every day of my life I'm honored with knowing people from this community that has been very successful. Yesterday was Eddie Davis, a student of mine. A few minutes ago, Ms. Parker, who did her student teaching under me at Northeastern High School, spoke here, and she's the first female commissioner. And I guess I could go on and just tell you about people that I'm blessed to know, to have in my life. James Gregory, young man from Walker's Avenue, married a girl from Newland, superintendent's niece. I guess I could go on and on and on. I taught the superintendent of schools. I taught James also. Mr. Gregory, pardon me if I call you James. And I want to tell you how proud I am to really have had the experience, because there's a lot of people that might not know all the good things about Elizabeth City. Many times when you start hearing people talk about how bad the schools are, he's from one of the bad schools. He's from Northeastern High School, a bad school. Engineer, Betty's from P.W. Moore High School, taught at Northeastern High School, and I'm from St. Mary. Nobody in here know where that is. I walked to school for 7 years, 3 miles that way, 3 miles back home. St. Mary's a bad school, walking and so forth. But achievement, I do believe most of it is in the house. So when people start condemning schools and talking all the bad stuff, this is not my night, this is James' night. But sometimes it get on my nerve when people come here and try to set up elitist ideas about learning. People learn from different experiences, and they're not from having something here that's marvelous. Because James' start is not a marvelous start, if he tell you all of it. He is perhaps one of the few, he's the only engineer that I know that with the same qualifications. I don't know nobody else with his qualifications. So tonight, I'm not going to keep right on talking because I know you're going to talk a while. But I'm going to stop. But I'm so proud to be his teacher, his friend, and just honored to be able to tell our librarian about him. And I'm sure that you'll enjoy it, and I'll let him tell you in his own way. I'll stop because my wife winked at me telling me to stop talking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perry, for that warm welcome and introduction. I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm humbled to receive the opportunity to be your guest speaker tonight. This is an evening where we continue the celebration of our rich history and heritage as a community and nation of people. It is quite fitting to pause and reflect on my intended definition of community. Let us agree on a basic definition of community as a group of individuals or families that share certain values, services, institutions, interests, or geographic proximity. From the above definition, the keyword group may be briefly examined, meaning a gathering of people or a collection of things. Group suggests something is brought together by forming one out of many. Whether that may be subtle or vast differences, whether that may excuse me, whether that many has subtle or vast differences is debatable in various environments and at various levels within environments. I believe another key word in this definition is share, meaning to participate. Share in an effort. Share suggests something mutual, whether it's considered good or bad. I will now share some thoughts and a personal perspective on community involvement. I grew up in what was, at the time, suburban Elizabeth City with my family of 4 siblings. Life was relatively simple at that time. There were no strangers in my neighborhood. Everyone knew everyone's name and family. The community pulled together to raise neighborhood families, and the neighborhood kids often played well together. The curious neighborhood boys often played outside games and explored the nearby woods and fields. We made many of our own toys, and in essence, no batteries were required. I clearly recall my younger years. I was very curious, and I was known to ask many questions. I asked questions about nearly everything you can imagine, layers of questions, questions about questions. You may even say that I asked meta questions. I can clearly recall my 4th birthday and many following days spending moments playing outside. On a bright and sunny day, I heard the thunderous sound of a sonic boom and asked my father, "What is that?" Well, to add to that moment, I have to share with you, at that moment in time, I was very small. I was very skinny. I was very much afraid of everything. And my father explained, that sound was an aircraft breaking the sound barrier. I was fascinated by aircraft in space at that time. I had this vision of a drum, a thin membrane stretched across the sky and a pointed-nose airplane punching through it. That was my vision of an aircraft crashing through the sound barrier. And of course, after I went to school, I actually saw a shock wave. We did some wind tunnel testing, and I actually saw a supersonic shock wave, and it wasn't far from that image. So you have to bear with me in my imagination of things. I wanted to know more, and I became interested in science. I quickly understood the importance of community involvement, preparation, hard work, and respect. The community supported my development and quest for more knowledge. Throughout my elementary school years, I was well known in the community as one who asked many questions. And as I transitioned to high school, I'd also start to transition to become one who provided some answers as well. Some neighbors look forward to receiving questions from me and answering them to the best of their ability. And some neighbors look forward to asking me questions and receiving answers from me that were the best of my ability. A person has a need to be aware of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Align the strengths with opportunities and guard the weaknesses against the threats. It seemed as if everything was connected to something else. I could not simply absorb infinite answers to my many questions without providing answers in return. And the transition could not have been possible without the involvement of my community, of family, neighbors, friends, colleagues, teachers, fellow citizens, employers, employees, and the list goes on. We practiced community involvement. If there was a perceived need, we sought to meet that need by providing the very best of what we had to offer. Again, a person has a need to be aware of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Align the strengths with opportunities and guard the weaknesses against threats. Lessons throughout history have taught us that every person and group has both value and a social responsibility to the community. The social responsibility is that every person is to provide some beneficial product, service, or idea in equal proportion as a return to the community's investment of resources in him or her. In doing so, the community is preserved. Again, a person has a need to be aware of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Align the strengths with opportunities and guard the weaknesses against threats. While some will argue the point of one facing potential poverty, others will see it simply as a situation of energy and mass balance, a demonstration of the scientific law of the conservation of mass and energy in a closed system. A key term here is closed system. That is to say, what flows in is equal to what flows out. So I have a personal question for each of you, and that question is, what is your definition of a closed system? In an engineering context, a closed system is a bound system, which is defined as everything that goes in is known, and everything that goes out is known. Everything is accounted for. In reflecting back on my childhood, our community was somewhat of a closed system. Neighbors knew each other. Parents and guardians knew that if they provided the required resources to a needy child, there was a great chance that that child would accept the social responsibility of providing society a return on its investment. Again, a person has a need to be aware of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Align the strengths with opportunities and guard the weaknesses against the threats. As I developed and matured, my perspective of community grew from that of a neighborhood captured in a moment of time to that of a city, a region, a state, a country, a world as we know it, to that of time without known limits and a world without measurable bounds. With that in mind, join me as we touch briefly on some of the known knowns, known unknowns, unknown knowns, and unknown unknowns. If we examine a model of our solar system, of the sun, and 8 planets and a dwarf planet named Pluto, some of us will agree that the planets revolve around the sun in nearly the same equatorial plane. In essence, our solar system is a community of heavenly bodies where each of the planets play well together and provide a gentle tug on the other as they all maintain their orbits. As a community, we have a common purpose, and they have a common purpose, and each is as much one as each is the same. However, on November 28th of 2013, many observers were surprised to see a new entrant enter our solar system. The comet Ison passed within 1.2 million kilometers or 750,000 miles of the sun, and it approached from the north. Its brief presence served as a reminder that our vast solar system is a small part of something much larger, about which it is revolving and playing well. At this point, how long will that continue? Nobody knows. And at what distance is the center? No one can measure it. But from life's experiences, most of us can agree that we see life as a series involving distinct phases within phases and cycles within cycles. Most of us will agree that there are times of birth or start or restart, 2, development, 3, test, 4, mission, 5, maintenance, repair, or recreation, and 6, death, end, or recycle. But let's explore some of the definitions. Start. Start is a place or time of beginning. Development is the act or process of growing, progressing, or developing. A test is a procedure for critical evaluation. Again, a test is a period of critical evaluation. During a test, you don't normally hear someone come up and tell you how well you're doing. You usually hear someone come up and tell you how bad you're doing. And it's for a purpose. It's bad news, but it's good. Mission. A mission is a specific task or duty assigned to a person or group of people. And of course, maintenance or recreation is the act of maintaining something to a specific state. So, wrapping up this presentation, I must ask each of you 3 questions. 3 gut-wrenching questions. You don't have to answer them tonight either, but you need to answer them to yourself during your lifetime. Number 1, what is your core or center at this time? In other words, what are you about? What are you circling around? 2, how do you define your community? And 3, are you playing well with your community? But just as I transition from a youth of asking many questions while providing few answers, I have to provide one final thought for your consideration. And you may have heard it before. A person has a need to be aware of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Align the strengths with opportunities and guard weaknesses against the threats. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mike Cox. I am the county attorney. I am also a member of the library board. I want to thank Mr. Gregory, Ms. Jackie for inviting me tonight. I am also, like Mr. Gregory, a graduate of Northeastern High School in 1989. Mr. Perry took a little bit of my thunder there. I already was going to address a few things that he did, but it's amazing. We live in a great community. We have our differences sometimes, but we really, it amazes me sometimes. Mr. Perry, I've worked with him for 12 years. I think he has taught everybody in this county or knows them. I cannot tell you how many times through the years we've had somebody come up at public comment and say, you know, Mr. Perry was my teacher or my principal. So I know you hear that everywhere, and you're well respected. So, Commissioner Parker, welcome aboard. And same thing with community here. I remember when you were sworn in, I did not know that you went to school with Judge Cole from roughly first grade on or somewhere around there. Okay. So just a few words of wisdom for the young folks here. Try to keep your comments to others, your negative comments to a minimum. You know, for a little constructive criticism. I've always had the philosophy you can never have too many friends. You never know when you're going to need somebody. The commissioners here and council and former council members know that you're dealing with all kinds of issues, social, political, financial issues, and you never know who you're going to agree with on one issue that you might disagree on the other issue, and you need support for this. So keep those things in mind. You're going to disagree at times, but disagree respectfully. That's something I think the commissioners try to do a good job of. I like this quote from Mark Twain, and always listen. I hope I get this right. It says, if we were meant to talk more than listen, we would have 2 mouths and 1 ear. So listen to what's out there and pick up on what people are putting down. And Mr. Gregory, a couple quotes. I hope you were quoted correctly by the Daily Advance on these, but some other words for the youth here. I do encourage youth to seek their full potential. I would encourage them to decide what it is they really want to do in life. Once they make that decision, think about things required to be successful. Try not to be afraid to take challenging subjects, as you did in your career. And it's exciting to learn something every day, so try to make that a goal. And if anybody, we can do it now, but if you have questions about the county or about being a lawyer or want to come see what I do someday, feel free. I'm right up here at the courthouse, the county attorney's office. So, Mr. Gregory, if you please come forward, we have a few gifts for you on behalf of the library board. Okay, got a nice little change pouch here for you with the libraries on it, and a DVD of Alice's Ordinary People, which I have not seen it, but I read the synopsis. It looks very interesting, so I hope you enjoy that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir. And finally, a certificate of appreciation for his valuable contribution as guest speaker for the 8th annual Famous First Black History Program, celebrating the historic achievements of African Americans in Pasquotank County. We're a little bit late because of the snow. It's St. Patrick's Day, but it's still good. So happy Black History Month and St. Patrick's Day to everybody. So thank you, Mr. Gregory. Yes. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I'm Ray Scaffer with River City Youth Build, and thank you, Ms. King, for allowing me to speak briefly. First of all, I'd like to ask all of the famous first African Americans to stand up, please. I know Betty Parker's one. Mr. Perry, I believe, Mr. Hezekiah Brown, Mr. Perry, I think Mrs. Perry, Miss Nora Jarvis Mackey, and I'm sorry, I don't know you two folks. Could you introduce Miss Perry? Okay, thank you. And sir, what is your name?
Charles Wells, first to retire from the River City Fire Department.
Okay, good, very good. Thank you very much. Stay standing for a second, please. I'm following orders from Miss King. Okay, so thank you. We really celebrate what your accomplishments have been, and we realize that it took a lot of courage in some cases, a lot of hard work in many cases. I know a lot of perseverance in many cases to be the first. But you're leading the way for many others, and there are a lot of youth in the audience, and hopefully that we will all learn from your experience. So thank you very much. You really helped to open new doors for people following you. So thank you very much. We have some Youth Build students here. Could you stand up, Janetta? We have them standing in the back. Janetta's a Youth Build graduate. Jeffrey's a Youth Build graduate, and Marcel and Shakari are current Youth Build students. And Youth Build, if you don't know, Miss Jarvis Mackey, and we have Miss Wills, Miss Ann Thomas, and Donna Jones here, staff. They created the program, wrote some grants, and it's been in existence since 1999. And essentially, it's a transformational program. Betty Parker is our excellent math teacher, my favorite math teacher in the world. And my dad taught math too. So, but it's a transformational program. We're located on Eringhouse Street, right next to Taco Bell. And essentially, young folks between the ages of 16 and 24 come to Youth Build. They sometimes finish their high school education by getting their GED. They really work on themselves. And again, I tell people the most difficult work we all do, I believe, is work on ourselves, improve ourselves, kind of put the baggage behind us and move forward to reach for our goals, as Mr. Gregory did, and others too in the audience. But thank you, Mr. Gregory. I liked what you said about community, several things, and really for us to take a look at our relationship. Are we playing well with our community? I think that's perfect. And that's what we try to do at River City Youth Build. We try to help people along the way. The students do a great job. They do a lot of community service. One of their projects upcoming is to have 5 community gardens around Elizabeth City. Today we went out to COA for about a 2-hour presentation about leadership. The goals of students at Youth Build are to complete their high school education, move on to college, get jobs, learn some leadership, and also give back to the community. On a weekly basis, they're doing a good job giving back to the community. So thank you very much, and I want to give a hand to our Youth Build students.
My name is Hezekiah Brown, and I also serve on the library board. But I think that what I'd like to do is just give thanks to Miss Jackie King. I mean, she had... I have not witnessed anyone, I believe in my lifetime, who has a job and take the job as serious as she do, and the kind of program she's trying to bring to the library. And I think that what I should inform you is that the library is here for your use. It don't just sit here for those who are on the program. It's here for your usage. And we would like to see more parents and sons and daughters who join the library together to come check out books to read together and have a discussion about the books. One of the things that I'm involved in, before I make up the other announcements, is that we have a Stand Up for Children Reading and Comprehension program. And as you hear about it, because as we go into the next school year, it's going to be more publicity about it. And we want you to join that. And let's help our kids. Let's pick this community up and embrace them and join our kids and help our kids and help the school system be the best in the state of North Carolina, or maybe in the country. That's what we need to do.